Okay, picture this. You've got two people. They have the same salary, they work the same hours, they both have that quote-unquote good job. But somehow, their financial lives are heading in totally opposite directions. One is building real wealth year after year, and the other, well, they're just treading water. So, what's the secret?
Yeah, you've seen it, right? Path 1 is the person who feels like they're actually getting ahead. Path 2 is the one who feels like they're running faster and faster on that hamster wheel, only to fall further behind. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad became a classic for one reason. It's all about explaining why that happens, and more importantly, how you can flip the script on your own story.
So today, we're going to break down Kiyosaki's biggest ideas. We're talking the core philosophy, the huge difference between assets and liabilities, how to escape that dreaded rat race, and the wealthy mindset around skills and taxes. Then we'll get into a real action plan and wrap up with the final takeaway. Let's get into it.
All right, so the whole heart of the book is built around these two clashing philosophies, and he shows them through two very different father figures.
So on one side, you've got Poor Dad. This is the guy who's highly educated, totally believes in the safe path, get a stable job, climb the corporate ladder. But then you have Rich Dad. He's the entrepreneur. His whole focus is on buying assets, building systems, and just relentlessly learning the language of money.
And this leads to the main idea, which is simple, but honestly, a little spicy. It's this. The rich don't work for money. They design and they build assets that work for them. And it's not because they're smarter, it's because they figured out they're playing a completely different game than everybody else.
So how exactly do the rich play this different game? Well, it all boils down to one of the most famous and probably most misunderstood ideas from the entire book.
Kiyosaki's definition of an asset is, well, it's brutally simple. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, period. And a liability? You guessed it. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket. That's it. That's the entire framework. It sounds super simple, right? But oh man, the implications are absolutely huge. And that brings us to the line from the book that gets everybody talking. Your house is not an asset. Whoa! Now, his point isn't that you should never, ever buy a home. It's a challenge to how we think. He's saying if it doesn't generate positive cash flow, it's not paying you. I mean, think about it for a second. Your home is constantly taking money out of your pocket, right? You've got the mortgage, insurance, repairs, taxes, and then there's what he calls furniture creep, where you just keep buying more stuff to fill the bigger space, and lifestyle creep, where your expenses just kind of magically expand to meet your income.
So the principle is this: build your asset column first. Let your lifestyle follow your assets, not your paycheck. And this really makes it clear what he considers a true asset. Stuff like rental property cash flow, stock dividends, a business that can run without you, or even royalties from intellectual property. Basically, anything that produces consistent income.
Okay, so let's look at the flip side. If the big goal is to build up that asset column, what's the trap that keeps most people from ever doing it? Well, Kiyosaki has a famous name for it: the rat race.
He talks about it like this endless self-perpetuating loop. It goes like this. You get paid, so you spend more. Your bills increase to match your new spending, so now you need more pay. For most of us, the default reaction to money stress is just, well, I'll just earn more. But if your spending just keeps expanding with your income, you don't actually escape, you just upgrade your cage.
The escape hatch is all about breaking that cycle. You have to use any extra income to buy income-producing assets. You do not use it to buy bigger liabilities, like that more expensive car or a bigger house. This is the whole key. It's really the only way off the hamster wheel.
Okay, so this brings us to the next really important piece of the puzzle. See, it's not just about what you buy, it's about how you think. It's about the mindset, the knowledge. That's what truly separates the wealthy.
Now here's a kind of sneaky point that a lot of people miss. Kiyosaki isn't saying don't work a job. What he's saying is use your job to fund your learning. The wealthy, in his view, prioritize financial skills, things like sales, negotiation, understanding cash flow, and managing risk. He argues most of us are way overtrained in being employees and dangerously undertrained in how money actually moves. The real play here is to become dangerous with your skills, because your skills can compound even faster than your money.
Get ready for another whoa moment from the book Understanding Taxes. Kiyosaki basically claims the whole system is set up to reward business owners and investors more than it does employees. And why is that? Well, because governments use tax incentives to encourage behavior they want to see, like hiring people and investing in the economy. So when you hear people say the rich don't pay taxes, what he's really pointing to is this different structure.
See, employees earn money, then they pay tax, and then they spend what's left over. But business owners often earn, then spend on deductible expenses, and then pay tax on what remains. The practical takeaway here is pretty powerful. Learn the rules of the game before you start complaining about it.
And finally, Kiyosaki says there are two emotions that run and usually ruin most people's financial lives: fear and cynicism. Fear is that little voice in your head saying, "What if I lose money?" And it keeps you from taking any kind of calculated risk. Cynicism is that other voice, the one that dismisses everything. That's a scam, that'll never work, and it keeps you from learning anything new. That 1-2 punch locks you into playing defense forever. The mindset shift he pushes for is to see risk as a teacher. Start small, learn from your mistakes, and repeat. It's not about being reckless, it's all about deliberate practice.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's get practical. How do we turn all of this into an immediate, actionable plan you can start right now?
Here's the playbook. Step 1. For the next 7 days, track your cash flow. I don't mean a budget, I mean your real behavior. Every single dollar in, every dollar out. Step 2. Label every recurring cost. Is it an asset or a liability? And be ruthless about it. 3. Start an asset habit. Automate a transfer, it doesn't matter how small, into an investment account every single payday. Consistency is everything. 4. Build one money skill this month. Just pick one. Sales, reading a balance sheet, anything. And 5. Try to add one small cash-flowing asset in the next 90 days. Look, the goal isn't to get rich overnight. It's to stop thinking like a consumer and start acting like an owner.
So let's wrap this all up with a balanced perspective on what is, without a doubt, a very influential book.
Now, to be totally fair, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is not without its critics. Some of the stories in the book are pretty hard to verify, the advice can sometimes feel a bit oversimplified, and let's be honest, real estate is a lot harder than he sometimes makes it sound. So, the best way to approach this book is to take the mindset and the principles, then apply them to your own life in a modern, smart, responsible way.
But look, if you only remember one single line from this entire explainer, please make it this one. Your paycheck builds your lifestyle, but your assets build your freedom. That's the game. So start small, buy assets, build your skills, and repeat.